How would you like to achieve your first million? And today we have from New York Times Square broadcasting Rick DellaRatta, and he's known as as one of the world's finest jazz pianists. So today you are here for a treat. And he began to receive a major recognition as a composer when his symphonic piece Permutata was recorded by the London Symphony Orchestra at the Beatles fame in Abbey Road Studios in 1999. I'm based in London, so uh, I've been in the studios. I love this. And he's a unique and important vocalist in 2004 when he was included in a definitive list of the greatest jazz singers of all time in Scott Janos' book, Jazz Singers. So, Rick, tell us, what are the 5 steps that you recommend entrepreneurs in order to sell the first million?
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
I think the first step is to hone your craft. So learn to do something that you are passionate about, or that you believe in, or that you love. Because if you do something that you don't love, you better make $1 million fast, because you won't want to do it your whole life. And if you do something you love, you might be able to communicate that passion to others. And that's what I try to do with music. People see that I love what I'm doing, and so that rubs off on them. You know, I'm communicating love, which is a very high form of human consciousness. So you're raising someone's human consciousness. You're already giving them something. They feel something. They want to be a part of you. They want to be involved in you somehow or other already, if you're making them feel good and raising their level of consciousness. So I think it's a good idea. For me, it was to study music for many years and learn my craft and be able to be versatile and learn a lot of styles of music, as we talked off camera, sing in both English and Portuguese,
Wow.
and play Brazilian music and all different styles. You said Brazilian jazz. I played in a very famous Brazilian jazz band in New York that was all people from Brazil. And my third CD it was both New York and Brazil. It's called Live in Brazil and the Blue Note. It's a double CD. One CD was recorded here in Brazil. Here at the Blue Note downtown here. And the other one was recorded live in Fortaleza, Brazil.
Wow. Okay, so after we have this step number 1, what will be the next one, Rick? That people have to be doing about being passionate about it.
You noticed, you mentioned yourself, creativity. Creativity is something that you can permeate into anything. You can be creative at anything. You can be creative at cooking dinner. You can be creative at anything. So look at what you do, but then try to look at it in a creative way. Try to see if there's something you bring to the table that's different, that might be unique from anything else.
100%. Yeah. How can you differentiate yourself, right? And
right.
And then the next step, Rick, step 3.
Well, you want to offer something that, again, not only is creative, but is also somewhat unique. It's something that maybe you do, maybe not everybody does. Maybe it brings something new to the table. So what I did after 9/11, I decided it's a good idea to merge music with philanthropy to help outstanding causes, because when you help an outstanding cause, you're reaching all of the people in their outreach. And so therefore you're contributing to make the world better. And as time goes on, every single day, our world realizes more and more we all have to play a part in making our world better. All 800, we can't depend on 200 billionaires, but maybe we should depend on 200 million visionaries, people with a vision that can contribute something that can make our world better, all of us together. 200 million can make a difference.
Wow, that's really, really powerful. Yeah. And it's about how can you create a movement with what you do. Something that we're gonna talk a little bit more later on because it's a topic that I'm very fascinated. Okay, and after number 4 and 5?
Well, now you have to offer something. You want to offer something that, people are going to want to be a part of, want to take, want to participate, want to contribute. And so Jazz for Peace started with something called a benefit concert series, where we were able to help outstanding causes in ways that other people couldn't. So you turn on your TV and you see some billionaire and you see that he's maybe helping people, but by just giving money, he says he's just giving, or maybe his PR firm says, I don't know, I don't want to get conspiratorial, but he's giving money. But fine, let's say he is giving money. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. He's giving money. Money alone doesn't solve all your problems, and everybody knows that. Money, it could enslave you, it could entrap you, it might not solve your problems. So what is Jazz for Peace offering? Well, we're offering with a musical event, we're offering a world-class cultural event. Now, music at a high level, at a world-class level, not just pure entertainment, again, raises your consciousness, stimulates your intellect, makes you, brings you up, makes you feel better about your chances in the world to do what you want to do and survive and maybe, grow and prosper financially. So you're bringing those things. It can be publicized. So you can offer an outstanding cause, many things besides just funds. You can offer to help bring in their supporters, unite the supporters behind the event. You can expand their donor base. We call that the roots of the tree. Then once you work with them to confirm the event with the donors they have, and by expanding their donor base to bring in other people to be a part of the event, and now they fall in love with the cause as well, and we also promote the cause, then you can go after sponsors because you have a confirmed event. Jazz for Peace has a reputation. You can go after local business sponsors. That's a branch. Another branch, publicity and awareness. You can make the organization more sponsored, more publicized. Then you can go after new and prestigious supporters, and all of these different components that make up branches of a tree. And ultimately, at the end, you have a situation where you've made that cause more publicized, more supported, more befriended, more sponsored, more prestigious, and better funded than they ever were before. So guess what that means? That means somebody who's happy. And if you go to jazzforpeace.wordpress.com, our website's jazzforpeace.org. So this is a different site, jazzforpeace.wordpress.com/about. And you scroll down forever, you'll see all of the letters we receive from those people themselves. So again, happy customers is always a good thing to have, right?
That's excellent, Rick. And the creating a movement, that's completely different take, and that just go and play music and get paid together. So it's a bigger mission, it's a bigger responsibility, it's a more work. You're a great jazz player, I can tell. So, and you don't need it. If we can put it on the into perspective, you don't need it, but you need it. Why you took this mission to create this movement, which I love the name, by the way, Jazz for Peace, which is a movement that you see musicians across history. You see the famous concert that we had in London about the aid from Africa.
Live Aid or something?
Live Aid, yeah, Freddie Mercury. The other day I was speaking with someone that actually played at that concert.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was sharing with me the photos that he has with the Beatles and personal friends with all of them and so on. So we have a very nice shot. So Rick, so what inspired you to create this movement, which requires a lot of more work, responsibility, deal with this. It's not the same to go and play music and to perform, not even be the director of one band for 4, 5 people, 6 people. Completely different is to be on charge of a movement and to design a movement that can involve hundreds, probably millions of people, and it goes sponsors and things like that. Why do you decided that you want to take on this huge role?
Two
And if
things.
it's
One,
really worth it?
right. Well, there's two things. One is that you already mentioned. Musicians have been doing it since the beginning of time. So it's part of the history of culture. It's part of the history of music. And you know what? When you're good at anything, especially music, you don't only look up to musicians. Not that most of the people I look up to are musicians. I mean, you mentioned the Beatles. I mean, the Beatles went to India. They put their drop in the ocean, with their trip to India on spiritual journeys, meeting meeting these gurus and all that kind of stuff. They got very involved in the spirituality of music as a way of enhancing your life in a bigger way, in a more spiritual way. But not only them, but some other musicians in jazz, like John Coltrane, but there are all over the history of music. But then as musicians, we look up to other people. It might be a Gandhi, you know what I mean? It might be a Martin Luther King. We look up to all kinds of spiritual people and then as we grow spiritually, we notice it can enhance our artistry. It's good for our music and vice versa. So in other words, it's part of your journey anyway, but the reason to make it a bigger part is because I noticed a problem when I witnessed 9/11. So really, Jazz for Peace started on the morning of 9/11.
Wow.
I
Wow.
told you. Oh yeah, this is a
Very
big thing.
powerful.
So very powerful. So the thing is, I told you I'm in Times Square now, but in 9/11, I was way down that way, which is the East Village, it's called, in New York City. I don't know if you know New York City. I know you know London. We'll talk about that. But where I recorded that song, 1999 was when I did that with the London Symphony at the Abbey Road Studio in London.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. And then also 1999 was when I performed at Ronnie Scott's for a week, and they took those
My
pictures.
favorite
And
place in
it's an
London.
incredible. I love it. It was started by a saxophone player named Ronnie Scott, a
Oh,
saxophone
wow.
player. And you could ask him to say, well, why would you do that? Open up a club and put out, you know what I mean? But that's what we do. Sometimes we go out, we go that extra mile, But
Yeah, I
he was
can
a
tell.
saxophone player. Yeah, he was a musician himself. So I'm down there now, and I get a phone call from a photographer who was taking pictures of me the day before. So if you ever look at something like, if you go to Amazon and type in Jazz for Peace CD, you will see the CD called Jazz for Peace. You'll see a picture of me that was taken only 12 hours or something before 9/11. It was
Oh,
taken on
wow.
the 10th by this woman who's a photographer, and she had a job down on Wall Street that I didn't even really know much about. She was just taking pictures of me. She calls me the next morning from Wall Street, and she says, I have this job. I said, what's going on? She says, oh my God, something crazy. I don't know. My boss's son called. He was in the other building, and my boss, and there's something going up the world. I said, listen, let me calm you down. What could it be, right? I'm on the 5th floor walk up down there. I can see the World Trade Center, and I'm on the 5th floor, and the roof is right above me. So I walk out of my apartment and I go up on the roof. I do it all the time. It's like a perk, It was like incredible to have this roof.
Yeah.
I thought it was my roof. I thought, hey, I have an
Wow.
apartment and a roof with my deal. So I just open the thing, walk up on the roof, which I go do all the time anyway. And I was like walking into a movie. And that's when I realized what I
Wow.
was always thinking. We have too much war on this planet and not enough peace. And then we complain. Do you know what I mean? You complain. So now I see a situation, even today, right now, as we're talking, and
Absolutely.
no one's ever argued with me, Harry. Here's what I tell people. I say, you fund war at 100%, not even 99, 100%. Okay. And then you fund peace at 0. And what could possibly go wrong? How crazy, right? It's insane, that whole idea. You got to be crazy to do that, but we do it. And we don't even really notice it. So that day I was like, this is crazy, because I knew I had traveled all around the world as a musician. Like I said, the first one I chose, hone your skill, because I had honed my skill and because I had traveled all around the world. I knew that music united people in a positive way. I knew that it broke the barriers of race, religion, language, creed. It broke through all those barriers. I played for people, like I told you, in Fortaleza, Brazil, to La Paz, Bolivia, to Europe, to France. I had played for people, and I don't have any problem with them. I don't have any problem. They listen to the music, we connect, and I feel what they feel. We know so much about each other from me playing, and then why I see what they're hearing, I see what they're feeling, so I know them as a person from just watching their expressions. And so
Mm.
that's common ground. I'm like, this is crazy. Something's got to be done. Someone's got to learn that music and the arts and culture can bring us together instead of all of these crazy things that are dividing us. So I wrote a poem on that day because the words had come out, and I had nothing left to show on that day except the words of a poem, which I called Jazz for Peace. But see, that's why I put on the list number one. If I didn't have the skill, I wouldn't be able to follow the words of a poem from that day forward. That led me to where we are today, where I honestly believe that we can solve all of our world's problems by simply going from 0% funding for world peace to 100% funding for world peace. You want to solve our problems? Go from 0 to 100. But even to
100%.
do that, Harry, we've got to go from 0 to 1%. And
Absolutely.
that means billions and billions of dollars being redirected towards peace. And there's no reason for me not to strive for that. It's a bull market for somebody who wants to solve problems.
Yeah. Playing for music to make a difference. I not only for hearing the music. I have experienced this on the first person because with I have a band which for hobby. Yeah, we play Cuban music, and
Great.
probably the biggest charity concert that was performed in order to help the Cuban people, not the Cuban government, the Cuban people, took place in London. My band, Buena Vista London Club, was the band that did the opening um, to that concert, and after that, even the song for Ronnie Wood from the Rolling Stone playing in that concert. And guess what? Um, no, any single musician charged for it, and everything that we collected, the money from the tickets and everything, was donated for the Cuban people. Right, it was in COVID times. There was fighting after COVID, so we were managed to send some food there. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for
Yes.
for families that they got affected, and still over there it was more need to it. So the point of the story is that I was very impressed how to see so much talent, right,
Right.
united in one point. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't charge for it, and it was an amazing concert. Now, the what I find it unfair, Rick, is that those musicians, they have to take taxes, they have to play instrument,
Right.
they have to consume time,
Right.
and they put in so much from them,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's
Mm-hmm.
okay that we want to help people, right? And we want
Right.
to make a difference and we want to create a movement,
Right.
and but it's not a little bit unfair with the musicians, especially those ones that they are very high profile, that they
Correct.
play in another place, they
Mm-hmm.
get charged a lot of money,
Correct. Right.
and we had to go and tell, I was kind of helping organize the event, so I know a lot of it on the inside that uh It's not that we couldn't collect much because you don't have enough money for promotion, you don't have enough money for marketing, therefore you cannot sell the
Correct.
tickets expensive. You need to sell the
Correct.
tickets in affordable, and if you send the affordable, the people that provide the person that provide the venue can give us a discount, but that one it has to get paid. We haven't
Right.
managed to find a venue in London for free for this charity. They give
Right.
us some kind of reduction, but we did have to pay. So by the money was 600 people. By the time that we collect all the money from the people that pay for the tickets and so on, that we go and charge some most expensive. Bottom line, we pay for the venue, and yes, we have an extra money that we bought. I think was over 100, 200 bags of food that was sent and given personally to the families in Cuba without no government interference. It was handed personally, right? Uh,
Mhm.
but what is your take, Rick? Why the musician had to lead by example, and why there is very little? And I think you already gave me a little bit of the answer, because 199% of the funding is for war and zero for peace or zero for conscious movement. Yeah, but I find it
Mhm.
unfair. What's your point of view of this? What can be done to this situation? I feel even ashamed. Me, no, because I was not professional player. We come with our
Right.
band. However, our musicians from Cuba also they were professional players as well,
Sure.
and they did it with a lot of love,
Right.
like everybody else. But
Right.
I found myself a little bit ashamed that wow, amazing that these people we cannot even give them the money to cover the taxi because we don't have enough
Correct.
money to give back for food to the people that need the most. So, what's your view
Correct.
on all this?
Simple. Very simple. At that time, you people were doing something in an old way that you can keep doing. You can keep doing something the old way all you want, but you will never not have the same problems. If you do this that way, you will have that problem every time, and this movement will not get very far. Okay? So
100%. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm waiting for
No,
one
the
thing,
movement
and what
stopped. The movement stopped. We couldn't
it
do it
stops,
again.
of
We couldn't do
course.
it again.
Never.
That's
You'll
the
never do
truth.
it again.
It was a
Yes,
big
that's the
effort
truth.
for everyone. It was
Right.
amazing,
Right.
but there
Right.
was no way
Right.
that we can
But let
take
me
on.
ask you a question. What year was this? What year did you do
Oh,
that?
that's interesting. 2, 3 years ago.
Oh, okay. So bingo. So that's why this is here's the problem, Harry. I'm going to tell you right now. The problem is the will. You people do not have the will. You don't have the will to change. Okay? Because Jazz for Peace already solved that problem. 24 years ago, we solved that problem.
Wow.
We've done over 850 events. In fact, if you share that
Wow.
screen,
$850.
I'll show your listeners. If you can't share the screen, I'll show you. Type it into your browser window, and I'll show you all of these things. And you know what? We've been showing people, hey, here we go to Africa again. Here's our 6th time to Africa, our
Wow.
7th, our 9th time to Africa. But you people, I'm waiting for you. When you're done banging your head against the wall, let me know. Because here's the thing, Jazz for Peace can only provide the way for those who have the will. Until
Wow,
you're
that's very
ready,
powerful.
it's listen, I learned the hard way. There's no way I can help someone who doesn't have the will. There's no way. If I try, I'll kill myself. You see what I mean? I'll destroy myself trying to do that. You have to have the will. But the good news, incredible news, we have the way. And if you shared that screen, I don't think you don't know how to share your screen, right? On
The
this?
problem is that people listen in the car.
They're
You
listening in the
have to
car. Okay.
speak. Yeah.
Well, tell the people in their car when they get out of their car, turn their computer on and type in that, Jazz for Peace dot WordPress, the word WordPress.com. That address, then add /about and scroll, read. 850 organizations in their words, not mine. Not one word. I don't say a word on that. There's no room for me to type on that because there's 850 you have to read. We have a
Wow, very
prize.
powerful.
We have a
Congratulations.
prize.
I'm very
I don't
proud
need to
what you have done.
Listen, you can congratulate me when I help you in London. That's when you can congratulate me.
No, not me. I
I
was not
need,
organizing. I was helping the organize it. It was not
but
my
I can
project.
listen, I can help anybody who has the will, is my point. You
Yeah,
see what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
If you have the will, I can help you, but I can't help you. If like, oh, we're going to do it, we're going to do it all by ourselves. We know what we're doing. That's fine. But I know what you're doing too. You're doing what Bob Geldof did. You're doing that style. You understand?
Yeah.
That style was for then. We are in a transformation. We are in right now, Harry, we are in a worldwide transformation, which is why one of my 5 points, if you follow my five points, hopefully you swim in that cutting edge of transformation. Now the river you're on carries you because you're in the road of transformation. And we're in a worldwide transformation. There's nothing we can do to stop it because right now you've got 200 billionaires that said they're going to solve everything. They said they're going to be philanthropists. They went on TV. They said this, that. Their PR firm spoke. But we looked around and all we saw was more of war, more of this, more of that. Why? Because it's too much to ask of a billionaire to do that. They don't have time. There's only 24 hours in a day for 200 people. They're going to solve all their problems. It's crazy. The whole idea is crazy. But guess what? 200 million people, that can do it. You see what I mean?
100%.
So we're in a transformation. It's whether you like it or not. It's part of a transformation from billionaires to visionaires. And anybody can become a visionary. And now guess who you are as a visionary? You're a person with the will. So now we can partner with you and we can provide the way. We're happy to provide the way, but you've got to have the will.
Definitely this model that I share with you definitely doesn't work. It doesn't work. It was good because the organizer, we helped the organizer a lot, and we create.
It's good for one time. It's just
nobody
good for
never
one time
done it
only.
before, and it was an idea, and we all joined forces together, and it was a lot of energy, and we did create something amazing. But in the continuity, the way that we did it, it's only good for one time. It's not It's not sustainable.
This is a fundraising model that Jazz for Peace has. Okay, and here's the thing: when you put on a concert like you're doing, the old style, and I listen, it's all of your work that led us to we're only because my Jazz for Peace poem.
I bet you did lots of those one also, Rick, right at the beginning.
Well, no. The beginning was a poem, but in the poem, I talked about how whatever I do, it's going to be because of all the contributions of those who came before. So those people came before. Now, what the model we have now, you made a good point. It evolved. It evolved.
To be because sustainable. Evolve and it's sustainable. So the movement can continue. Otherwise, you kill the movement.
Well, but
doing it in the old style, the movement dies. You know 100%. This. Everything
I've done it. Is true.
I've been there. Yes. I've seen with
but
my
let me
eyes.
tell you something. Here's how you evolve. You gather information from the people you're helping, or from, if you're any in business, it's from your customers. You listen to your customer. You know what I mean? The businessman, he doesn't listen to his customer. He's out of business eventually, right?
100%.
He's out of business. 100%. Customer says, forget it. But I listen to these people. Why? Because you're right. I'm putting in a lot of effort. So I need to know it's not a waste of my time. So I listen to the people I'm helping. And guess what they wrote? When you go to that page, you see the letters. They all wrote me a letter. They all wrote me letters, and they all said things. One would call up and say, hey, you united our supporters and followers. You united them. They were tired and they were exhausted and they didn't want to hear my phone call. Oh, here he comes again asking for more. You know what I mean? You rejuvenated them with your VIP ceremony. You know what I mean? So let's do that for everybody. Let's do this VIP thing for everybody. So that became a part of the model. Then another said, you expanded our donor base. Wow, how did I do that? Well, when you did this and you told them to get other people and you told them to bring their bridge group and you showed them the document, they showed them what Jazz for Peace did. First of all, we had achievements, not only my musical achievements, but we performed at the United Nations where I brought Israeli, Palestinian, an American jet. See how little you're learning from mainstream media, right? You're a news
Wow.
guy and you're learning it now. That's what I'm trying to say. The world is so far behind because we've been trusting these people, and it's fine. We trusted them, and good for them. They made a lot of money off of us. But hey, this is the bottom line. We're getting towards the 25th anniversary of that United Nations concert. And when I would tell an outstanding cause, we did, they'd be like, wow. So they're not just saying, we're going to get all these musicians together. They're all going to play for free, and then we're never going to do it again. That's not what they did. They went to them and said, this person performed the United Nations. He united Israelis, Palestinians through the art form of jazz. So now they are like, wow, let's go check it out. So now we have numerous ways to, so now, again, one by one, they told us this. You expanded our donor base. Okay, that's how I did it. Thank you for telling me. Let's put
let's
that
amplify
in.
this. Yeah.
Another one said, and one called me from Dallas 3 years into this. They said, we just have to tell you that we're at an event now. We're at one of our fundraisers now, 3 years after yours. The same sponsors are sponsoring us today that were brought on board from you. So I'm like, wow, how do we do that? Well, they just loved your event. They were ingratiated. They fell in love with us through your event. So now
They
we add
believe
that.
what you believe. They believe that should be
A lot
this
of
in the world. And
a
that's the
lot
most
of
important thing about the movement is the name, is how you, because in order to grow this movement, all your donors, all your clients, all your sponsors, all your musicians, everyone had to believe what you believe, and this is the core of the movement. That's the impact. And but even if they believe what you believe, the model has to be sustainable. Otherwise, for so beautiful that has been the cause, unfortunately stops because the model, the old school model, or the only way that people were doing in the past, which we trying to do the same, is not sustainable for continue any movement.
no.
So now let's
This
talk
is
about
this
conscious
model is sustainable.
entrepreneurs. Yeah, because
Yes.
again, you could be playing in these expensive restaurants in Manhattan, or in places that they pay you a lot of money, and you could be uh, very fine, making money, making your living like this, and when you play some musicians, so all these millionaires want to be your friend and so on, and you could have an amazing uh, group of millionaires around you all the time, and then but you choose, instead, become a conscious entrepreneur, an entrepreneur that do good and make money at the same time, have a movement that can create an impact in the society. So what have been these? Because I know a lot of musicians, and lots of them are like you, but lots of them are from the other part that I described. They were amazing players, and they hang around with a lot of rich people, and they have an amazing life, and they get invited to the best places and events and everything, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
And they always save and play for the rich. However, there are another kind of musicians that take a different path and become conscious entrepreneurs. Someone that can create an impact from society with the work they do, and do good and make money at the same time. So when do you realize that you had that call?
Well, I realized it before 9/11 because, like I told you, see, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. So before
You
9/11, I
already were working
realized,
on the case, right? You already were
well, I
thinking.
just, I was, like I told you, I was playing in places like London, I was playing in places like Europe, and I was playing in places like Asia, and I was meeting all kinds of people, and I saw that, hey, I meet happy people after I play music. They're not the same religion. They don't speak the same language, but we're very happy. We are, we're getting along. We're commonality. We have things in common. We don't, I never saw anyone, but I never want to blow up somebody or they want to blow up me after we play music. That's crazy. You know what I mean? So, maybe there was controversy because of the music, because the music is maybe futuristic, or it's overstimulating your intellect or whatever. That's all fine. But that's part of the arts and culture. And the arts and culture, it's not just me. It goes back hundreds of years. I mean, it goes back to Mozart. It goes back to Bach. It goes back before them. I mean, it goes all the way back in time. When I went to Africa, I heard great percussion music that came from centuries ago, So my point is, I knew that I had accumulated knowledge, but once I had a poem, I was reading the words of the poem. And what I do sometimes is I play the music and I improvise something and then I recite the poem. And the words of the poem, I thought, I'm sitting here watching this tragedy, yet what I just said on that paper is what I should be doing with my life.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
That was powerful.
Yes, because I'm getting all these subliminal messages and they don't always add up. And one reason they don't add up is because my music shoots me to a higher level of human consciousness, the artistic things that I play musically. So I'm shot up at a high level of human consciousness with my music. And now I'm supposed to go down into how low you want me to go to accept this crazy stuff you're talking about. You know what I mean? And I can't get low enough because I'm kind of I'm at a higher level from my the music hasn't worn off. So I'm not even at the normal level of human consciousness, let alone be down there in the gutter where some of this information comes from. So I'm looking at the words and I'm like, that's what I should be doing. And when am I going to do this? We should all be asking ourselves, when are we going to walk the walk? We talk the talk, right? But when are we going to actually walk the walk? So I thought, let me just try for a couple of days because I got this poem. It was on 9/11. If I don't do it now, when am I going to do it, Harry? You tell me. You know what I mean?
So now the moment that everyone is waiting for. So if you can press the button, Rick, in your end, we will want you, if you can play some music so people can have an idea what they're gonna experience at the Just for Peace movement, right? So when you're there, you will be listening this type of music that Rick is about to play for you guys. But also by you being there, you are contributing to right encourage world, encourage peace all over the world, and be part of this movement that actually, if we all work together, can make a huge difference in the mankind. We can have planet forever, something that that at the moment we're concerned with with so much wars and people dying unnecessary, and so much hate and so much anger and so much money wasted.
The money spent. Why don't we have it? Yeah, wasted. You have tariffs. How come you don't have a tariff on bombs? That's the most money being spent as anything. Where's the bomb tariff?
So Rick, what people will experience at these concerts? Can you please share with us?
Well, I do. I'm very unique, so I can take any song and turn it into jazz. Anything. I mean, what do you want me to play? Anything. You have a favorite song?
Really? Oh, wow. That would be amazing.
I do anything.
Oh my God, you're gonna make my day. Wow, my favorite song. That's amazing. Okay. Like this on the spot. Okay, very good. My favorite song is from Mick Jagger, the Rolling Stones. Yeah, Sympathy from the Devil. But this is I don't know how you're gonna turn this into jazz.
What's this? What's the name of the song, Mick Jagger? What's the name of it?
Sympathy for the Devil. Please.
Oh, Sympathy from the Devil. Let me see that.
Introduce myself.
Right.
But wow.
Okay.
Oh my God, you're gonna do this on a spot.
Let me take a look at this. Let me take a look at this thing here. All right. Let's see what we got here.
In the meantime, when you look, I just want to share with the audience that jazz is the most creative space and one of the most complex musics, in my opinion, to play with, along with blues. Yeah, Rolling Stone started to play blues. Yeah, so blues and jazz is something that that is a music that comes from the soul. It's very difficult to play because you have to feel it, and also I'm aware that I know that because of my Cuban heritage, right? That
Hmm.
we used to have in Cuba those bands that play salsa, right?
Yeah.
And I remember that all of them, they were amazing jazz players, and what it says that regardless that they were playing salsa, which is something more easy to play, right?
Hmm.
They have those musicians, the Cuban ones, they have the skill to play jazz, which is something that you really need to know your instrument. Um, um, is not as easy as play another kind of instrument, right? And especially what you're about to do down piano is extremely complex. So don't even know how you're gonna do this. So let me know when you're ready, Rick.
Yes. You know,
Otherwise,
I
we pick
have it.
another one. Otherwise, we pick another one. No, don't
Well,
worry.
no, I think I'm going to try this for you. Any song, it's crazy. I can do it. Let me just see.
Wow.
I just want to make sure I got the melody because I haven't heard it in a long time, many years. But let me just I think I have it all. But let me just listen to a couple of
Out of,
okay.
out of a million songs, yes,
Yeah.
that there is in the world. So
So I'm gonna play this for you, believe it or not. I just
I
want to
still
make
don't
sure I have the
believe
melody. Yeah.
it.
All right.
Wow,
So
this is so complex. I thought that you're gonna play something that you are familiar with. Yeah, but this is what you have
you
with jazz
know,
players. They're so talented, they can pull off anything. That's amazing. That's what I was describing now. That if you play jazz, there are people that know that they are on top of the scale in terms of skills of playing that instrument. There is no it's like extra, right? If you have a guitar player and you have a jazz guitar player, you can tell before they play that the level of proficiency on that instrument for the jazz players is
mhm.
way higher than from the for the standard musician. This is something that I listen to jazz all the time and I visit the places. So and I've been around musicians. I even have a band as a hobby. So my so we know for a fact that that requires a lot of talent and creativity and proficiency in order to play this style of music. So I applaud you for being so talented. Yeah,
I can do this. Now I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna do this and then I'm gonna go into some kind of a jazz thing.
absolutely.
And
That's what we're
okay,
waiting for. We're waiting
we're gonna
for
do it. Okay, you ready to
exactly.
go?
Absolutely,
Let's
we're
do it. All
ready
right,
to
here
rock
we
and
go.
roll. Remember to press the button
I
in
pushed
your
it.
ended.
You can hear it okay? You hear it now? Okay.
Perfect.
Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste. I've been around for a long, long year. Stole many a man's soul and faith. I was around when Jesus Christ had his moment of doubt and pain. Made damn sure that the pilot washed his hands and sealed his fate. Pleased to meet you. Hope you guessed my name. But what's puzzling you is the nature of my game. Stuck around St. Petersburg when I saw it was time for change. Killed the Tsar and his ministers, Anastasia screamed in vain. Rode a tank, held a general's rank. It's all the words that I have. I'm gonna learn this song someday and record it on my friend. fills me like a celebration. I see the light and I want to follow. Inspired by the past contributions of those came before, and laid the groundwork for us to build on in this universal language that is a gift for all mankind. When we speak it, people are enlightened by the creativity and artistry that stands for peace and love and humanity, and intelligence that leads to reaching potential that we have in our souls, so we can raise our total conscience and see that the gift of giving is our greatest privilege. I hear jazz for peace. Pleased to meet you. Won't you guess my name? Now it's time for change.
Wow. Woo! My goodness. Oh my God, you made my day today, Rick. That's a big spectacular. I was thinking I can't even express how powerful what you just play and share with us. I'm so privileged. You really made my day, and also if this space that we shared today can be a space and a framework for create a portfolio in this movement to create peace in the world, right? And to also bring love and joy to the people. And so lucky that we have talented people like you that they are in this movement. So Rick, if people love, I love it 100%. So whatever listening this broadcast and they love this, how people can find you, how people can get enrolled in your organization, and someone want to be a sponsor. We have a lot of entrepreneurs that listen this broadcast, right? What a great thing to do with the fund that musicians, talented musicians that are spreading the word for peace on the world. So how people can find you, how this process works, how they can get enrolled, if they are musicians, audience, sponsors. Can you share a little bit with us?
Absolutely. So basically, our model is different because it's sustainable. You can do it over and over again. You can do it many times. And
I can tell. How many concerts have you done so far?
Well, there's, like I said, over 850. I don't even know all of them. Yeah,
so
we did a lot of concerts
sustainable. We only did
definitely
one.
Sustainable. Yeah, so that's my point. That's my whole point. So we have a sustainable model. Follow our model, and see, we do the same thing every time. It's the same model. It's the same ABC steps. So we call it, if you go on YouTube and you type Jazz for Peace, easy as ABC, you'll see one of our videos, tutorial videos. If you type how to get funds from Jazz for Peace, you'll see another one. There's a new fundraising tutorial. We make these tutorial videos because if you watch it, you'll see how we do it. Then you contact us and we follow the easy steps and we grow this empowerment tree. We just did a new one, and let me just see what you would put into Google to get to that.
Rick, do you want to press the button before you finish the music?
I pressed it, right, to talk again?
Yes, you did. Yeah.
Can you hear me talk? Yeah, I did.
I hear you clearly.
I pressed it. I pressed it before and after. Yeah. So this one is called, oh man, what's the name of this? There's a new one we have out. I think it's something Rick DellaRatta's fundraising serenade. So if you put my name there and you put fundraising serenade, it's in the title. Oh, Harmony and Hope. Rick DellaRatta's fundraising serenade. Anyway, that's a new tutorial.
I like it.
So we have the tutorial videos. And you just watch the tutorial video, but you contact us, even if you can't find it, contact us. It's info@jazzforpeace.org is the email address. You can always reach us, info@jazzforpeace.org. Of course, our website, jazzforpeace.org. and rickdellarata.com, stuff like that. But like I said, that one I told you about, that WordPress one, you can see what we did at 0. So I can tell you, we want to go to 100%. If world peace was funded even at 1%, you would not recognize this planet. And not only that, but
that's really powerful.
Every time we help an outstanding cause, that is getting funding for peace. If that cause is committed, and like I said, a lot of causes are they're captured by the people they're supposed to stand up against, give them money to capture them. But the ones that are sincere, it's true. But the ones who are sincere, that's who we help. If you're sincere, like those people that did all that crazy work, they were sincere. Those are the ones we want to help. That's that story you told me. We could help them in a sustainable fashion.
100%. And without note, thank you so much, Rick, for sharing this amazing broadcast with us. And for all of you following the Unstoppable podcast, see you in our next episode. How brave entrepreneur like Rick break that wall, achieve the first million. But for now,
follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.